In 1908, as President Theodore Roosevelt moved to protect the Grand Canyon from timber and mining exploitation, the world was unaware that the canyon might be guarding a far older and far deeper mystery. Just before the area was sealed from commercial interests, an explorer named G.E. Kincaid embarked on one final journey down the Colorado River. Kincaid wasn't just a thrill seeker, he was a former military man and seasoned adventurer, seeking out mineral deposits in the canyon walls. What he found instead would spark over a century of whispers, rumors, and government denial.
So, welcome to Mystery with Minnie.
About 40 miles upriver from El Tovar Crystal Canyon, something caught Kincaid's eye. Strange stains in the sediment, high up the canyon wall, about 2,000 feet up. He tied off his boat, began to climb, and soon stumbled upon something extraordinary. Hidden under desert brush were steps, hundreds of them, carved into the sandstone. The steps wound up to a high ledge, leading to the mouth of a dark cavern. The entrance was clearly man-made. Inside, the air was cool, dry, and silent. As Kincaid switched on his lantern and stepped inside, the light flickered across the walls, revealing carvings. Not Native American petroglyphs, but hieroglyphics. Egyptian hieroglyphics. He went deeper. The tunnel extended far beyond what he could see. Chisel marks lined the walls, straight, deliberate cuts made by tools, not nature. The deeper he went, the more the chamber widened into a complex. Oval-shaped doors led to side rooms, some as large as modern living rooms. Others stretched 30 to 40 feet wide. Each room was carved with geometric precision and ventilated with hollow spaces that ran between chambers. The architecture rivaled the precision of Roman engineering. Kincaid was now certain. This was no fluke of geology. This was a city buried deep in the Grand Canyon. He documented what he saw. Granaries lined with glazed pottery, many still filled with seeds. Cooking areas, a massive dining hall. In one chamber, he found metalworking tools, ancient implements made of copper. Not just hammered, but hardened, something modern chemists had long struggled to reproduce. Then he found the crypt. The chamber opened into rows of niches carved into the slanted walls, each holding a mummy. Dozens of them. Some wrapped in bark cloth, others sealed in clay. At the foot of each rested copper cups and broken swords. There were no women, no children, only men, warriors perhaps. The higher niches held more ornate urns, suggesting a hierarchy, or perhaps a timeline of occupation. Kincaid knew he had uncovered something that didn't belong to any known chapter of American history. He sent his notes and a handful of artifacts to the Smithsonian Institution and requested help. What he got was more than he could have imagined. Weeks later, Professor S.A. Jordan arrived with a team of 40 men, archaeologists, linguists, engineers, and laborers. As they lit up the cave system and surveyed the network, a clearer picture emerged. The layout wasn't random. Tunnels converged into a central axis, a citadel. At the heart of it stood a massive idol, cross-legged, holding lotus flowers in each hand. To some, it resembled Buddha. Others thought it hinted at something older, perhaps from Tibet, or a culture lost to history. The team called it simply the Citadel. As Professor Jordan and his team expanded their exploration, the cave began to yield even more bewildering artifacts. Intricately carved statues lined several halls, beings with feline faces, humanoid bodies, and elongated skulls. In other chambers, golden tablets etched with unfamiliar symbols were carefully removed and packed away for study. There were tiny figurines resembling animals not native to North America: elephants, crocodiles, and even what looked like a kangaroo. Perhaps most stunning were the texts. Stone slabs covered in scripts that bore uncanny resemblance to ancient Egyptian Demotic and Proto-Hindu Brahmi. Some even contained pictographic writing never before catalogued. The implications were staggering. How could such ancient Eastern scripts appear in the heart of the American Southwest? The deeper the team went, the stranger things became. One room appeared to be a type of celestial observatory. Slits carved in the ceiling aligned with specific constellations visible only during the equinoxes. Stone discs tracked lunar cycles, while markings on the walls detailed what appeared to be planetary movements, accurate down to the retrograde motion of Mars. By now, word of the discovery had made it back east. An article was published in the Arizona Gazette on April 5, 1909, detailing Kincaid's find. It described the vast underground city, the artifacts, the mummies, and linked it all to ancient Egypt and Tibet. The article suggested the Smithsonian Institution had verified the find and was preparing a detailed report. But then, nothing. No report, no press release, no follow-up article. The Smithsonian denied any involvement. No records of Professor S.A. Jordan or G.E. Kincaid could be found in their archives. It was as if the entire expedition had been erased from history. Many believe the cover-up began immediately. Kincaid's report was buried. The article vanished from most libraries. Tourists were soon restricted from entering vast portions of the Grand Canyon. Certain areas, especially around 94 Mile Creek and Trinity Canyon, were declared off-limits. The reason given: dangerous terrain. But rumors circulated that the government had cordoned off these zones to protect the entrance to the underground complex. Conspiracy theorists allege that the U.S. government, working in tandem with academic institutions, actively suppresses discoveries that don't align with accepted history. And Kincaid's cave, with its Egyptian, Hindu, and possibly even Sumerian connections, certainly didn't fit the narrative. Years passed. The story faded into obscurity. Yet, from time to time, strange reports would surface. Hikers claiming to see large black helicopters circling remote areas of the canyon. Locals speaking of strange humming noises near cliff walls. Some even swore they saw sealed metal doors embedded in rock faces. In the early 2000s, a new wave of researchers reignited the search. One of them was Jerry Wills, a modern-day adventurer with his wife Kathy, dedicated years to finding Kincaid's hidden city. Using maps, tribal stories, and old photographs, the Willses pinpointed a remote section of the canyon they believed was the entrance. They hiked for days, dodging patrols and enduring punishing terrain. When they finally reached the site, they were stunned to find a sheer cliff wall that looked artificial, anomalous readings from EMF meters. But they weren't alone. Jerry claimed they were watched the entire time. Shadowy figures on high ridges, unmarked aircraft overhead. Fearing arrest or worse, they left. Days later, when they returned with cameras, the area was sealed, and warnings were issued, strong ones. If the entrance to a buried city had truly been found in the Grand Canyon, then the U.S. government, perhaps even global powers, had every reason to keep it secret. The Willses weren't the only ones to encounter resistance. Over the decades, numerous hikers, researchers, and independent explorers reported being followed, blocked, or outright threatened when venturing into the forbidden zones of the canyon. Some were intercepted by park rangers. Others described encounters with men in military uniforms who offered no identification. These zones, strangely named places like Isis Temple, Tower of Set, and Ra's Throne, are real locations on modern Grand Canyon maps. Their names hint at a connection to ancient Egyptian mythology. Critics argue it's just a coincidence, but believers see a hidden message, a breadcrumb trail. Could the canyon have once been home to an ancient outpost, or even a lost civilization? Some theorists point to Hopi legends, which tell of antediluvian people emerging from underground cities after cataclysmic floods. The Zuni and Paiute tribes speak of lizard people and star beings who once lived in vast caverns beneath the earth. These oral traditions, passed down for centuries, describe sacred spaces within the canyon that should never be disturbed. David Hatcher Childress, a prolific author on alternative archaeology, believes the cave system aligns with tales from ancient India and Sumer. He's cataloged stories of vimanas, flying machines mentioned in Sanskrit texts that were stored in underground hangars in places where fire met rock. Other researchers believe Kincaid's discovery could be evidence of a transoceanic civilization, that perhaps thousands of years before Columbus, or even the Mayans, explorers from Egypt, India, or Lemuria crossed oceans and seeded knowledge around the world. If true, it would mean history as we know it is incomplete, possibly even fabricated. But why suppress it? One theory is cultural preservation, the fear that rewriting history would unseat centuries of accepted narratives. Another is control. If knowledge of ancient technologies or advanced pre-human civilizations were to surface, modern institutions, political, religious, and academic, could lose their credibility and authority. Yet, some whisper of a third reason: power. What if something lies beneath the Grand Canyon, something more than just ruins? Some believe the cave contains ancient knowledge, possibly energy technology, zero-point systems, or weaponry left behind by a forgotten race. Others go further, suggesting the citadel was never abandoned. That even now, behind sealed doors and camouflaged hangars, scientists and military engineers are studying devices recovered from beneath the earth. This isn't just speculation. Former Navy officers and Park Service workers have anonymously reported underground activity, sensors embedded in canyon walls, and sounds of drilling far from any known construction zones. Satellite images of the restricted zones are low resolution. Attempts to fly drones near them often fail. GPS malfunctions. Compasses spin. It's as if the canyon itself is hiding something, actively. Despite decades of silence, a few voices continue to rise from the depths of this mystery, persistent, defiant, and unnervingly credible. Files vanish, names are scrubbed from university records, and every inquiry into G.E. Kincaid seems to hit the same dead end. He never existed. But how could that be? The 1909 Arizona Gazette article clearly names him. It describes the discovery in vivid detail. It even claims that the Smithsonian dispatched a team. Yet today, the Smithsonian insists no such expedition ever took place. No Kincaid, no Jordan, no artifacts. And yet, whispers persist. In 2012, a Freedom of Information Act request was submitted to the Smithsonian regarding the Kincaid expedition. The response? No records found. But sometimes the absence of evidence becomes the most compelling evidence of all. You can't visit the supposed cave. The area is closed off by the federal government, declared hazardous. No trails lead there, no maps detail its approach. And if you try to get close, you'll be stopped, not by a park ranger with a smile, but by armed security, sometimes dressed in unmarked black uniforms. Who are they guarding against? Curiously, the Grand Canyon has long been a point of interest for more than just archaeologists. In the 1990s, satellite scans revealed strange anomalies beneath the canyon floor, geometric voids where only solid rock should be. Some say these voids are tunnels. Others claim they're structures, still intact, still sealed. And even today, pilots flying over restricted zones report compass anomalies and brief communications blackouts. Electronic devices malfunction. Something in those areas interferes with technology. But if that's true, why seal the canyon? Why are there still reports of military presence? Why do modern explorers who approach the supposed cave describe intimidation and surveillance? There's a line that separates myth from mystery, a line often blurred by silence, by omission, and by fear. The Grand Canyon might be more than a natural wonder. It might be the resting place of a lost chapter in human history, a chapter some are desperate to keep unread. And maybe, just maybe, G.E. Kincaid really did stumble upon something he wasn't meant to find. Maybe the Grand Canyon isn't hiding history. Maybe it's hiding truth. But one thing is certain, the Grand Canyon is more than just a wonder of nature. It's a place filled with unanswered questions. And whether those questions lead to lost civilizations, forbidden history, or something stranger, this story reminds us that even in the most well-known places on Earth, there are still things they don't want us to find. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Let me know down in the comments what subjects I should cover next. Until next time, stay curious.